For 21-year-old Robert Ott, a single moment in the summer of 1990 conspired to change his life dramatically as a single bullet cracked through his skull in a millionth of a second, leaving him blind and unable to enjoy even the simple pleasures of taste and smell. For Ott, a carefree spirit who grew up enjoying martial arts and had pursued it to the rank of black belt, his life as a young man, now severely disadvantaged, was at a crossroads. Was any redemption possible? Could he discover a life worth living beyond anyone's wildest expectations? Robert's story is the story of living when you feel like dying, of taking nothing but $500 and your dreams and succeeding far above what could be imagined.
I was engaged to a man who was a Marine, and he taught martial arts for the Marine Corps. I believe that was probably Bob's first exposure to martial arts.
He told me himself when he was young, he watched a Bruce Lee movie and never knew anything about karate before he watched the movie. After the movie, that was it. He was on fire. When
he was 14, he went to a Ocean City, New Jersey Junior Olympics, and he won the Junior Olympic Championship at that time.
He could put his foot just about anywhere he wanted it, and it was picture perfect.
He's the one that wanted to jump the highest and spin the fastest, and if there was going to be a martial artist in the room that was going to be recognized, he was going to make darn sure that it was him, and it was. And there came a time when Bob was ready to own his own school. It was something that he had to try. It was in his heart, and you know, you have to follow your heart. And Bob did. He was never afraid to do that. So he came back to South Jersey to a town called Summerdale, and he started the Traditional Martial Arts Institute. And he was so proud. There was never a prouder day.
He was doing well with the school. The school was it was a success, and he had about 70 students.
Before we went out to that bar that night, we had no plans on going. There was a girl at that bar that he was interested in and wanted to go see her and wanted to go out to the bar. Things happened fast. It was kind of noisy. It was kind of crowded. And next thing I knew, I heard a pop. I thought at first it was a firecracker or something. And being in such a small room, I couldn't even tell in which direction the noise came from. I remember looking into the bar like, what happened? Next thing I knew, the whole room was cleared, and I looked down, and that's when I seen Bob on the ground. I remember looking at him. I remember seeing him laying there. He was pretty much moaning and twitching.
I was on the other end of the phone, you know, said, is this Bobby Ott's house? I said yes, you know, and then they said, well, Bobby's been shot, you know. You think, you know, the arm, the foot, the leg, you know, you just think these things. And instead they said, you know, he got shot in the head, and you have to go to Cooper Hospital right away. But I started grilling, seriously, you know, talking to this doctor and trying to get answers about what they were going to do. Kind of out of frustration, I said, well, you're not, you know, he's not going to die. And this guy just looked at me, and his face changed a little bit, and then he said, yes, he is. Eventually, I was told that they weren't going to do anything, that they could not do anything. Somebody said that I should be expecting a phone call, and when the call came, they would need my permission to pull the plug. I got there not long, and the phone rang. It rang a while. And then I picked it up. On the other end of the phone was Fran Orth, who was a nurse at intensive care. And she was saying to me, something good has happened. I've been watching him through the night, and I had reason to believe that I should contact another doctor. And we were able to reach Dr. Louis Cervantes. He operated on Reagan's aide Brady. This was an operation that had not been done very much. It was in its infancy stages. They would actually took the brain up off the stem, reline the brain cavity. And then they would place the brain back on his again brain and shift in the right way. Gunshot. Dr. Cervantes said that he felt that he could do this operation. Well, he was one of the few neurosurgeons who would even came just to watch this operation, and it was written in books about it. It was a medical breakthrough.
I held his hand and I said to him, I said, Bob, I said, you've got to be stronger now than anybody I've ever known. You know, if there's ever a time that you had to have a warrior spirit, it's right now. And I don't know to this day whether it was a reflex or whether it was him answering me, he squeezed my hand at that moment, and it was so scary.
An hour or two after they started, he woke up, and you couldn't tell. His head was bandaged and everything, but he was like talking, and he sounded great. He was able to get some words out.
Bob had to get out and live life, and nothing was going to stop him.
He went and took a course on food management, moving his career into that direction, and it was very quick. I remember him saying, I'm looking at a job in Seattle, Washington, and next thing I knew, Bob was going and on his way.
I was impressed. He was running a small operation that was catering to a large amount of people, and he was back to the grind. He was punching the clock, and he was back to being a functional human being, and it did so much for him.
There's a whole group out there, people that are visually impaired, that you know what, they're just visually impaired, but they're people with the same hopes and dreams that we have, and not to be uncomfortable with that, and not to be uncomfortable with them.
I think Robert Ott can see now better today than he ever has seen.
I hope somehow my story of what has happened to me can help somebody find a new way in life of being able to see life, a new way in life of being able to make that difference, find their love in themselves, and find their healing.
When not managing his company, Certain Victory Food Services, and its 700 employees, Robert can be found traveling the world, sharing his inspiring story of strength, hope, and courage when facing seemingly impossible hurdles. As a much-in-demand motivational speaker, Robert Ott enjoys the opportunity to challenge audiences through hands-on demonstrations, the steps he's learned to realizing personal empowerment in every area of life. For a copy of Robert's biography, more information about the Certain Victory Trust Fund that helps those who are in special needs situations, or to inquire about having Robert come to speak to your group, please contact him at certainvictory.com.